All right, it looks like I'm live. I'm gonna wait for at least one or two people to come in. Hope you all are doing well on this Tuesday, right before Thanksgiving. Okay, we're talking about the Moynihan report. Okay. Okay, I know it may be some people come in a little late, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so I've been hearing a lot about the Moynihan report, ever since, the beginning of the time since I've been here. I was born in 81. The Moynihan report was created in 1965. So I wanted to get off into this situation. So we're talking about the breaking down of our families dealing with the Moynihan report. So first, there's a video that I wanted to show to you all right quick. You guys check this video out, and then I also have some bits and pieces from an article dealing with it. This is under fair use, and I'm gonna play and stop, but here we go.
Fair to middling years in the Second World War, and maybe a good year in the Korean War, and that's it. Getting better just recently. But by and large, it's been going on beyond the imagining in the white world. In rates of unemployment, teenage unemployment in the white world, in the Negro world today, is almost 25%. Can you imagine that? That is a social crime. That's an outrage. There isn't a society in the world which will let 25% of teenagers go unemployed. About a quarter of Negro families are headed by women. The divorce rate is 2.5 times what it is. And all the number of fatherless children keeps growing. And all these things getting worse.
Right. Did you hear him just say the number of fatherless children continues to grow? So the fatherless children thing was a big problem even back then.
Of recent years. It's not a matter of a bad situation that doesn't improve, but rather a bad situation that worsens. Got to get that clear. It's getting worse. How'd you learn how to behave? From your father and your mother and your older sisters, maybe, and the people around you. Well, supposing there is no father, or if he is a father, he doesn't work, where there is no education, where there's no sense of getting ahead, where children are just brought up without any of that support which a family gives it, then what do you end up with? You end up a cycle reproducing itself.
The clip that you just saw was from.
And that's exactly what he was actually trying to help that situation that they were dealing with then. Oh yeah, appreciate that YouTuber for that information. Okay, I got some more stuff too I wanted to present, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this. If you come in the building, y'all make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up when you come in. Okay, so I'm gonna go here so you all can see the layout of this. This is the actual Moynihan report. So let me make sure I'm sharing. Okay, so this is the Moynihan report. Pretty long, pretty long. And I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to go through and read just a few things here and there. Okay, so it says the Negro family, the case for the national action, the office policy plan and research, the United States Department of Labor, March of 1965. March is actually my birthday. Okay, so up here, let's see, 200 years ago. It's about something about 200 years ago. Okay, this is the key point from what I seen when I first read this. The United States is approaching a new crisis in race relations. In the decade that began the school desegregation, they made the decision to desegregate the schools, and this happened at the Supreme Court. And at the end and passage of the Civil Rights Movement, which was the Act of 1964, the demand of the Negro American for the full reconciliation of their civil rights was finally met. For the effort, no matter how savage or brutal some state local governments, the exercises of those rights still, their rights were still doomed. The nation will not put up with it, least of all the Negroes. The present moment will pass. In the meantime, a new period is beginning. So he wanted, so basically it sounded like they wanted to create a fair playing ground, even for the people who were at the bottom. So that's what this report is all about, creating some type of leverage or leeway where we could have an equal amount of success, just like all of our other fellow Americans. And let's see, in this new period, the Negro American will go beyond civil rights. Being Americans, they will now expect in the near future of equal opportunities for them as a group. We will produce roughly equal results as compared to other groups. This is not going to happen, nor will it happen for the generations to come unless a new and a special effort is made. So they created this whole report and they made this whole movement of the Moynihan report to give us a fair and equal shot to be successful in society. So there's two reasons. First, the racist virus that's in the American bloodstream still affects us. Negroes will encounter serious personal prejudice for at least another generation, second generation, even third generation. And yeah, that's true, and so on and so forth. So it's saying that they will actually encounter more prejudice than other people. So they were preparing us to put us in a space where we can be successful as well, because they knew the things that we were already facing because we just came out of the civil rights movement in 1964. And it goes on to say that the harsh facts is that as a group, at the present time, in the terms and abilities to win in this competition individually, the Negro American has reached the highest peak of achievements. But collectively, in the spectrum, the American ethics, religion, and racial groups, where some get plenty or some get none. So, we were the ones who really got none. But it's basically the first rundown is telling you this report is gonna actually change laws where we will no longer be discriminated when it comes to trying to get loans from school. They will no longer discriminate us against us when it comes to getting certain positions in the military forces and things of that nature. And that's whether you're male or whether you're female. And let's see, this indicates, it indicates in the dollar amount of income, the standards of living, and the years of education. The gap between the Negro and most other groups of American society is welding. The fundamental problem in which this is most clearly in the case of the family structure, the evidence is not final power of pursuit. For the Negro family in the urban ghetto is crumbling. So, as you see here, even in 1965, when this came out, our community was in a very crumbling and poor state. Families were not even strong then. I think that's a misrepresentation that some people have when it comes to this Moynihan report. The family was not too strong even then. It was on a pretty weak foundation, and it was a very high amount of single mothers even then. Let's see, the foundational problem in which most clear cases is the family structure. Not evident, not final, but powerful pursuit in the Negro American family in the urban is crumbling. Let's see, it says the middle class group has managed to save itself for a vast number. Most of them are unskilled, poorly educated, city class working. Who is that? Hold on, let me see who that is. Yeah, poorly educated, and they're in the class where they actually are not equal to their counterparts. And when they say counterparts, they're talking about other races of people. So the black family back then was not. I don't know what that's about, but okay. Okay, so yeah, so they recognized all these issues. So they wanted to present a plan of structure. So going down into this one right here, this other paragraph, it says, of this paper, of these events in a combination to confront the nation with new kinds of problems and new measurements. And basically it says the nation, they want to require to give unity of purpose for many activities for the federal government. So what this is saying, they wanted to open up the doors where people of color are able to get those college scholarships. People of color are no longer discriminated when it comes to certain positions in the military and things of that nature. And then going off into it, it was saying about the dilemma of the male Negro. The dilemma of the male Negro, they felt like a lot of black men didn't really have a lot of discipline. They lacked education, and a lot of black men also. Hold on, let me see. They also had issues with like being masculine. So what they referred to a lot of the black men is for them to perhaps go to a military. And as you guys know, the military will help you like buy a house. The military helps you pay for school. So the option for getting certain positions in the military was offered to the black man. And it says that they also wanted to create a even playing field so the black man can be dominant in his community. So contrary to popular belief, they actually created a playing field where the black man could be dominated in his community. They wanted to create, they wanted to get rid of the matriarchy, what they call the matriarch community, where the women were running the community, and they tried to set it where the man will be over the women. But basically what ended up happening is that a lot of the black males did not qualify for a lot of the jobs. So he was already in a position where he didn't qualify for the job. So therefore they opened up doors where he could get educated and qualify. But a lot of the black men refused to go to college. They just didn't want to go get the education so they actually could qualify and make more money. And it kind of shifted us off over into situations like this. Okay, I'm going to share the screen here. Let me share this so you all can see. All right, so I'm going to play this maybe a couple of times and let y'all listen to it, because I want you guys to get a good understanding of this situation.
There are few places for children to play. Because of the same kind of planning, Perry Homes has no doctor, no dentist, no pharmacy. Nearby, there is a well baby clinic, but no sick baby clinic. And the sick must travel 12 miles to wait for attention at Grady Memorial Hospital. And partly because of the general rule that welfare is cut off if there is a man in the house, fathers are often driven away so that mother and children can eat.
85% of the head of household is a woman, because most of the men who should be in the household, they cannot make a decent living. And of course, it is better to know that a child will be fed 12 months.
So that's what I was just talking about. the men who were in the household, they couldn't provide. They couldn't provide for their families, and it kind of it set them back in a way. So it's like that man felt like, oh, I can't contribute to anything. So instead of him taking that advantage that he had, as far as they open up the doors for you to get into the military, you can make money and support your family in that way. Or and then they ended up opening up the doors so y'all can get education, but none of them wanted to go to school and get the education. So it set them in a stance like this, like it put them in a sense where they were not able to provide. But keep in mind that he was given the opportunity to advance his education. He was given the opportunity through the Moynihan report and them changing those laws that discriminated against y'all. They opened up the doors where he could get the education to qualify to make more jobs. Keep in mind, a Moynihan report, they were trying to put the black man in the position where he could be over his black woman. And how do you be over them? When you can earn the pay and actually be able to support your family. So it won't put that woman in a position to be in a dominant position. See, a lot of people wonder why a lot of women were in dominant positions and why they can't rest in their femininity. A big reason why they can't rest in their femininity because they are the matriarch of the society. They're the matriarch over the community, over their household. So it's hard for a woman to rest in her femininity when she has a man who can't provide. Like if you can't provide, you have to set, if you want to have that feminine, fit, friendly woman, you have to set the grounds where therefore she can actually perform those duties and be able to rest in her femininity and actually do what a woman is supposed to do. But therefore, whenever the ecosystem is interrupted and there's things happening where that man can't provide, therefore you're going to have more masculine women, just like this woman was saying how a lot of the men couldn't provide.
Months out of the year, then 3 months, which is during the summer when construction work you can make a decent living.
The man in the house rule was written to prevent welfare cheating, to make sure that aid to families with dependent children would go only to families headed by mothers. But the effect of the man in the house rule is to create for children an atmosphere of investigation and surveillance. And thus, the welfare system in its operation turns out to be a system to make life harder for children. Homes was planned on a minimum budget. There are few places for children to play. Because of the same kind of planning, Perry Homes has no doctor, no dentist, no pharmacy. Nearby, there is a well baby clinic, but no sick baby clinic. And the sick must travel 12 miles to wait for attention at Grady Memorial Hospital. And partly because of the general rule that welfare is cut off if there is a man in the house, fathers are often driven away so that mother and children can eat.
And that speaks volumes. Okay, I'm going to get this off right quick. That speaks volumes because what he said is that the man had to be driven away from the home so the kids and the wife can eat. So they were already in a position where that man could not provide. That man couldn't provide, but he made children that needed to eat. So whenever a woman is in a position and she got to feed the kids and she got to eat, so they created a system where the man could actually have the doors open to better himself, but he chose, not to go and get that education. So that woman who still had to feed her kids, she would have rather for that man to be outside of the household. But what happened is when that man did leave the household, so the kids were able to eat because he couldn't provide for them, that man left the household, but I don't think they left to go and better themselves. Most of them left to go and create other families with other women that they still couldn't provide for. So it just created a combustion of dysfunction And, the number one thing that creates poverty are children. I believe some people actually do get out here and create children that they can't take care of. That creates a whole nother problem. And, it's just a trickle down effect. It's a trickle down effect. So, really looking at this situation, this can go much, much deep. But I actually have another live that I got to do very shortly. So I just dived into the Moynihan report shortly. I've been hearing a lot of people discussing it, and I ended up hearing there was a gentleman, me and him had a little back and forth, but there was a gentleman that ended up telling me about the report, and I was like, let me go read this report. So to sum it all up, to make a long story short, the Moynihan report was not created to break the black family down, but it was created to give the black man an even playing field with everybody else. But at the end of the day, he just didn't take the opportunity. So that's what created him to be in the bottom space. It's still like about the same now. There's a lot of people who have opportunities that just don't take it. I was talking to my son, and I was just like, it's like this. If I have two children and I send them to the best of schools and I give them the opportunity where they can get the best education and have the best life, I open up the door where you can go to a college. If I open up the door where you can go to a good college, if I always had you in a good private school when you were in grade school all the way up till you graduated as a senior, and I open up these doors where, hey, go over here, go to college. When you finish college, you got to do 4 years in the military. When you finish the military, they're going to pay back all of the fees from your school, and they're also going to give you down payment towards you a new home. If one child takes that route and take advantage of everything, and you look up 10, 15 years later, like they're successful, they got the family in line, their career is stable, and they living a good life. And then you have another child who went on and didn't do the plan that was made by the parents, but they went their own way. And now he look up 10, 15 years later, and he's still struggling. He's still working fast food. He's still jumping from job to job to job. Who can be blamed for that? Can you blame that parent and say that parent didn't instill what that child needed to be successful? But then you got both children who had the equal opportunity to be successful, but you got one that went by the plan and came successful. Then you have one who went their own way and they look up and they're not successful. Who can be blamed? The only one that can be blamed is the person who went their own way and they didn't follow the plan. So, that's what the Moynihan report boils down to. It was a plan given, a foundation set for things to be fair, and the black man just did not take the opportunity. So whenever you hear people say the Moynihan report that was in 1965 took me out of my home, it's a lie. Like, that did not happen. It just didn't happen. But if y'all come through, you interested in the video, comment. I may come with a part 2. But if I don't get any interactions, I'm gonna just leave it here. But I just wanted to break down that Moynihan report because I just feel like a lot of people go by what people tell them and they don't actually get off into it and read. I just read the actual report and it says nothing like I'm gonna open up welfare to women so they can have opportunities, but only if the man not in the house. Like, it says nothing like that. It was an even playing field that was created that a lot of people didn't take advantage of, but some people did. So what do you all think about the Moynihan report? You guys have dropped down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. If I get any interactions or a good amount of views, I'll probably come with a part 2. But if not, we're just going to leave it here. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Thank you for being here, and I will be back in a few hours talking about some YouTube tea. But I am signing out. Katie Talk when I want. Peace.